relationship counselor, Elizabeth Overstreet. Everyone has this vision in their mind of what marriage is, how romantic they want it to be, how they're going to raise their children, what the core values are going to be in that relationship. But often we don't tell each other totally what that vision is.
And I think relationships are about curiosity. And one thing my mother said that was funny, she was approaching like 50 plus years with my dad. And she said, there's still things I'm learning about your dad. I said, what? You've been married over 50 years. Like, what else is there to, like you guys shouldn't know each other like the back of your hand. She said, I know him really well, but I'm still learning things about him. So to me, that was great to hear that from her, because it was like, if someone is with someone 50 years plus, and they're still learning them. Think about how much pressure we put on our relationships in the beginning phases. We are still learning one another, and we're continually learning one another. So it was just a great example to reset my brain around my relationship expectations and being fair to the other side and explaining and expressing to them like, hey, this is who I am. This is why I do this. Ask me why I'm doing this. Like, don't assume it's for this reason. And conversely with me and my husband, like, I try to not assume. I'm like, okay, tell me more about that. Like, why are you doing that? What caused that? So I think when you lean into the curiosity, it helps you really to connect better in a more healthy way. And I know we could talk about this forever, because I can see the smile on your face, Sandy, and Kay knows I can go and go.
I'm still on, the comment that was made when she asked, so do you like my butt? And
He was stuck there.
I'm sure he married her that night. I'm sure they have night court. So yes.
You're funny.
Yes. Everything was going downhill, and she, of course, communicated with him, which I thought was very mature. I'm almost certain that it probably took him off guard. And that's why you said, Sandy, this rarely happens, because this rarely happens when someone has rejected you. Most people, their instinct is, okay, well, fine then. Whether you're hurt, mad, you just let it go. So for this young lady to, really not only pursue, but to ask the right questions, or to give him an open floor to talk about it. Can we discuss this? What are your likes, dislikes? For him to share with her his likes, dislikes. She's like, okay, next question. What else? And then he comes over, they go out, she shows him her butt, and now they're married. That's big.
Well, what I like too is that she could have easily been insecure after that happened. Like, when someone rejects a part of us, it's so easy to just be like, man, maybe something's wrong with me, and to stay and lay in that moment. But it sounds like, and she may have had that moment. It's not to say she didn't have that moment, like where she started to feel self-conscious about her body because of the experience she had. But it's almost like she shifted her brain around that. And she reframed it in her mind. So she wanted to put it out there like, okay, let's just get this out the way, because I don't want to go through putting myself through that same experience. Like, I want someone to accept me for who I am. And I think that's a form of self-love. So I think that's the other powerful
Well, yeah, but part. she saved the right trump card. Yeah, I mean, she literally saved the best for last.
She did.
You know what was the best for last?
Tell me.
Do you want to see my butt?
I know this episode is going to be called "Do You Want to See My Butt?"
Thanks to you, Sandy.
That will definitely lure in people.
No, but I like it though. I really like this young lady, or just anyone for that matter. Based on what you've been saying, Sandy, just really just establishing lines of communication. Let's be real. Some things that we communicate may not feel good to the other person, just like some of the responses we may get may not feel good to us. But at least that line of communication has been established.
Yeah. And I will tell you that all the clients I work with, when they find a partner, they are so grateful for the ability of that partner to communicate with them. They say over and over, this is so refreshing to be with a woman where I don't have to read your mind, where we can actually talk about things. You don't shut down, you don't get defensive. We can talk about anything together. And it's rare. It's rare to have that kind of connection. But when you have it in yourself, then you can form that with anyone in your life. And I will tell you that when I learned boundaries, and this was probably when I was about 30, my parents got divorced when I was 29, and I was just getting married. My parents are divorcing and I'm getting married and they're making a mess of my wedding. And my father starts calling me and complaining to me about my mom. And it was the first time I realized I can set a limit. I have a husband. I was pregnant with my first child. And I said, I am going to hang up if you keep talking about my mom, because that is an inappropriate conversation to have with me. And I'm going to hang up. You're stressing me out. And then he would call right back. Well, you're not allowed to hang up on me. And I would hang up again. And eventually he got it. Because I had to keep doing it. And it's because I was breaking a very old pattern of a lack of boundaries in my family growing up. And I did it with every family member. And so sometimes just starting with the people who are in your life, who are safe in a way, because they're not going anywhere. Start with friends, start with family members. If you really have trouble speaking up, and take those little risks, share a little bit more about your life, about who you are, about what your preferences are. Don't just say yes to everybody else's and keep your own buried deep inside, because people need to know you. They need to know who you are in all the good, the bad, your preferences, everything. And when you're comfortable sharing about yourself and showing who you are uniquely, you're going to start attracting all the right people into your life.
Yeah, that is a great way to end the show. You've given our listeners such rich insights and advice, and I think people will really walk away with some nuggets, just thinking about how to advocate for themselves, how to speak up for what they want, how to set boundaries, what a healthy relationship looks like. So thank you so much for that. How can people find you if they want to work with you in the future?
Well, this has been a really fun conversation, so I really appreciate both of you. I can be found at my website, lastfirstdate.com, and there's links to my books, my services, my blog, my podcast, everything is in there. And I also, if anyone here is a woman over 40 and wants to join my Facebook group, it is so amazing, I have to say. I started this group about 4 years ago, and we're almost at 4,000 women. And it is a very highly interactive group, and it's extremely focused on building the skills that we talked about today. I challenge all the biases, all of the limiting beliefs. I help people see that they're judging each other, they're judging men, and people's lives change through this group alone. So it's called Your Last First Date on Facebook. And if you're over 40 and a woman, you're welcome to join.
All right. It's okay. You can't join. So anyway, I'm joking. I'm joking.
That's okay, Sandy. At least you started with us. When I say with us, meaning men. So I'm going to hold on to that.
I love men.
So thank you so much, Sandy, for joining the show. Again, you can find Sandy Weiner on Facebook under, you can say it one more time.
On Facebook at Your Last First Date.
Okay, and then she's on Instagram on Last Date First Date 1, right?
Last First Date 1.
Yes. First one. Thank you for that, Sandy. And we really enjoyed having you on the show. For our listeners out there, just please remember that you can listen to all our podcasts on the Anchor app, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and many other platforms. We're going to end it here. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back with more guests. And until next time, XOXO.